didn't really like each other at first because he was fishing on my brush.
I hope he drop kicks Corey right off the stage if Corey takes it from him.
Two dudes on back-to-back weeks won their second Elite Series title. So it got me to thinking, why not a mega show? Why not just have them both on? So that's exactly what we are doing. Lake Murray champion Paul Marks, Santee Cooper champion Chris Johnston, both of them joined me this week. Ow.
I'm Bob Cobb from the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 263rd edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope wherever you're watching or listening from, that life is treating you well. An incredible South Carolina swing. Two great tournaments, and we're going to have a great show here this week because I decided let's just have a freaking mega show. Let's have both champions on here all wrapped up in one show. Because guess what? It's a good week, and it's a good week to have a freaking good week. So we might as well try help that by bringing both champions in, and two incredible events. I mean, Lake Murray, first of all, wild how two events were dominated by individual baits. I mean, Lake Murray was dominated by a chartreuse fluke, and then Santee Cooper Lake's dominated by the kyoiki, which is going to be often talked about for a little while now because, it's made its mark, as if it hadn't already, now even more so. But two incredible events, two incredible champions, a big week at Lake Murray for Paul Marks and the entire Surge squad. And then you roll it down the road about an hour and a half, 2 hours down the road to Santee Cooper Lakes, and a big week for the juggernaut that is the Johnston brothers. Chris Johnston gets his second Elite Series win in as dominant a fashion as you could see. It felt on Sunday like he was on a different body of water. We get into that. We get into all this stuff. But Corey Johnston is now leading Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year, and what a change things were. I mean, it's undefeated. You've heard me say this a bunch of times. In all the Elite Series seasons I've covered, the second the world starts to anoint somebody Angler of the Year, like they've got it. It's just simple arithmetic. So-and-so is going to be your Angler of the Year. It feels like something happens and it changes. And that was screamed out at South Carolina. I mean, because neither of our Angler of the Year leaders went through South Carolina without getting scathed. I mean, Corey had a rough one at Lake Murray, and then obviously Trey had a rough one at Santee Cooper. Corey went into Santee 66 points behind Trey, I believe, and now has about a 20-point lead on him. So it's going to be an incredible Angler of the Year race with 3 events left to go: Pasquotank River, Champlain, and Thousand Islands. So it's going to be fun. It's going to go down to the wire. I'm looking forward to it. South Carolina was awesome. Want to thank everybody for the feedback, everybody who came out, all the fine humpers that came and said hello. Thank you. Thank you. We had a weird thing happen after the event. I wasn't there. I just got the video and posted on social media. But the Bassmaster Media Trailer / Livecast studio burned up. I don't even know what caused it. I'm not technically advanced enough. I guess it was the brakes or something on the vehicle. So I don't know whether it'll be back or repaired. Probably not going to be back this year. But the irony of the whole situation is all week long I've been telling them that studio is too hot. It's too hot in there. There was no air conditioning. And it burned up. I told you so. They have nothing to do with each other. Speaking of which, that post I made, which was mostly comical, the internet was undefeated. The amount of people that like, what? You just took videos rather than trying to stop it. Yes, people tried to stop it. What? You didn't have a fire extinguisher? From what I heard, they had 9 and it still didn't stop it. So, come on, internet. I know it's the easy thing to jump on, but you know that what they say about assuming, don't make assumptions. Unless you're assuming that this is going to be a bitchin' episode, and I really do think it's going to be, because we have freaking 2 champions all wrapped up into one show. And I can talk about all sorts of things, but I think you'd rather me just jump into our very first guest. First, we're going to kick things off with Sergeant Surge from Lake Murray, and that is the one and only 2-time Elite Series champion, Paul Marks. Paul Marks, you're a freaking 2-time Bassmaster Elite Series champion. How does that sound?
It sounds cool. I still can't believe it. It's pretty insane. No doubt. I can't believe it at all.
When you say that, what do you mean you can't believe it? I know you believe in your skills.
Yeah. Just everything's happened so fast the last couple of years, and to have 2 blue trophies is surreal, I guess.
Yeah. Is it happening too fast?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I just want to keep racking them up if I can.
Yeah. I mean, if we go to more of those herring lakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to get a smallmouth one next time.
Herring anglers and smallmouth, like that seems to, you guys seem to do well in those northern events. Why?
The fish kind of act similar. It's clear water, offshore structure, and roaming fish. I mean, it's just very similar, fishing in the southeast. All the herring lakes, like Lake Lanier, is probably the best lake to go learn how to live scope, because the fish are so hard to get to bite. If you can get these to bite right out here, that get them to bite just about anywhere.
Why don't we have more Elite Series events at Lanier?
I don't know. It's a good question. I wish we would.
It's time, isn't it?
It is. What was the last time? 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, it had to be right around there. I mean, it was a while ago. Mueller won it. But it feels like it has been peaking for a while now.
It has. Seems like every year the past 6 or 7, 8 years, just keeps getting like a pound heavier almost. Every year it takes a pound more, a pound more, a pound more. It's like, obviously May is probably the worst month out of the year weight-wise, just because they're all sick and they're biting that good. But the rest of the year it takes over 20 no matter what. And in the winter it's 23 to just met some 26s weight in and stuff. So it just keeps juicing up and getting better.
You said on stage that you wanted to win this because you wanted to be the herring king, the herring master. Why? I don't
know. Just like, it's cool, I guess. I mean, I've always fished in the southeast and like Lake Murray, and I mean, I haven't spent a ton of time on Lake Murray. Me and my dad won a big tournament over there, but it seems like everywhere I go, I've kind of won a tournament. Hartwell, Lanier, now Murray, Clarks Hill. I won a tournament there one time too. So it's just cool to be able to go to those different lakes, and I can call myself that since I've got 2 of them there.
What do you think that means? Never mind you, but what do you think that means to your dad?
Oh yeah, he likes it for sure. He likes it for sure. A long time ago when he got Siri came out, he told Siri to name him King of Lanier, and it's like went through all the different phones he's got. It's still, if Siri goes off, it says that. It's pretty funny.
This isn't something that happened. I mean, it seems overnight here in the Elite Series, but how long have you been training to take said throne?
Pretty much my whole life. I mean, I live right here in Baldridge on Lake Lanier. Not in Baldridge. I'm less than a mile from the ramp. So my dad's had me out there fishing, and I fished so many night tournaments and just tournaments every weekend. Like during COVID, it's when I graduated high school. So we had tons of tournaments going on then, and just fishing all over the place, going all around within a couple hours of here, and a couple days a week, going to rivers fishing and jet boats, and just doing a lot of fishing and training for it, I guess.
The one thing that stood out about that event that I mean, actually, it's wild. The last two events, you look at your victory, Chris Johnston's victory, both tournaments were dominated by one lure specifically. Different lures in both situations, but let's talk about your victory. A chartreuse fluke. Well, why does that have such a huge impact?
It's so versatile, and my dad has a bait store over there, Oakwood Bait and Tackle, and I've scooped probably 1 million herring into a bucket and just watch how they, react, and a fluke just mimics them perfect. And it's so versatile. You can work it so many different ways and really make it do what you want it to do.
But why that color?
Oh, chartreuse. We had cloudy weather, most of the days there, and then I switched to that chartreuse herring color when it gets sunny every day. And the herring fish, a lot of them getting them to bite is them engaging with it from a distance away and keeping their speed up to eat it. And sometimes if it's not a very bright color, they just they don't engage quick enough and ignite and really fire on it and eat it. They can be 10 feet away and decide to eat it, and then they ate it in half a second. They can swim fast, really forward, really fast in a split second. Eat it.
So we hear all these different theories about being a halo around it and color and stuff like that. Does any of that hold any water to you, or you just think it's a target? Yeah,
I think they did that test a few years back. I forget who did it, whatever, but it was fish can't see blue, and chartreuse is like part of the blue family, whatever, on that color wave or whatever. And so chartreuse just looks really white to them. I think they can see it from further away, and they like white. I mean, throwing white on linear my whole life, and white and chrome's about it.
Were you shocked to see how many people got onto that color? Like, I feel like the last time we were there was a handful of people throwing chartreuse. Now I feel like we had a handful of people not throwing chartreuse.
Yeah. It's kind of exploded around here too. I mean, every boat you drive by on Lanier, any of the herring lakes, or see something chartreuse flying through the air. So no, it doesn't surprise me. And it kind of really got exploited the last time they were at Murray.
Yeah. I want to get into the side of your head that I love that you so often don't let us see. You said when you spent a lot of time staring into a tank full of herring. What do you learn in that situation?
Now you just tap on the side of the tank, see how they kind of kick and get moving, and how they swim around, which they're in a tank, so they can't really get that much speed up, but they're super fast. And it's really cool if anyone's ever like at a tackle shop, Oakwood Bait, like Hammond's, any of these in the Southeast usually have bluebacks, and it's cool to go and just watch them and look at them, see how they move. And a fluke, it's weird. Like when they go to take off and whenever you like twitch a fluke fast and it kind of kicks, it's identical to it. It's pretty crazy.
How many hours of your life, conservatively, do you think you've spent staring into a tank like that?
A good amount. A good amount.
Is that part of the obsession? Like, do you see fishing? Let me ask you this. Do you see fishing in everything? Like in your life?
For sure. I mean, hunting and fishing correlate a little bit. I mean, especially now with us using the live skip, we're hunting down the biggest ones we can get, and it's very similar. I've always hunted, and I did some trapping when I was younger, so I think it all just kind of morphs together, and it's all one, just being in the outdoors and understanding how stuff works and, tricking animals.
What do you, to be the herring king, to have the results that you've had, is that 90% instinct, or is it all education? Like when you're, take me through your head. Like, why are you so good at it and so many others are not?
Mostly instinct, and it's just a lot of it's decision making. And you can pull up on a point. You'll see them all, pointing in one spot. You'll see a few on the bottom. You'll see two up high that look like they're about to come up school, and they look a little bit smaller. Then you'll see one back behind them. You got to decide which ones to throw at that you think are the biggest ones and the ones that will possibly bite. I feel like a lot of people, they see fish on there and they just cast. And I'm like really reading them and seeing which ones I think will be the most vulnerable to trick.
Okay, and I know this is like a science class and there's no way to probably do this, but dumb it down for me. What are the ones that you might as well not even bother casting at?
Usually the ones on the bottom. It depends. I mean, every day out there is different. You just kind of got to read it. And then say you don't have a limit and you're still trying to fill it, then you might go for the easiest ones to catch, get a limit. And then later in the day, you got a good limit and you're looking for big ones. And you just kind of mosey around and look for the bigger ones. And they're usually on different spots where there's not as many fish. So there's tons of variables and just a million different things going on at once. And it's like hard to tell people like what's going on, but I just like Emil's same way. He kind of came up with, we're doing a million different things at once and every little thing matters so much. It has to be perfect every cast to get the fish to bite on a herring lake.
Does sometimes that get cloudy? Like with that much information and you're talking about something that you've got to react to in a split second in most situations?
Not really. I just done it so many times, made so many casts over brush piles with schools on them or a long point with a big wolf pack swimming up and down it that it just kind of, I don't know, just do it.
How excited are you for next year's classic? I mean, I know you still have to finish off getting in it, but when you heard that announcement, what was the first thought that went through your head?
No, I'm excited for it. That time of year is kind of different because it could be, really heavy pre-spawn and fish just pulling up everywhere. So it's kind of anyone's ball game that time of year, but I definitely for sure have some tricks up my sleeves to pull out. And hopefully I can get in there. I need to finish the year off strong and have a good finish in AOI.
You're in a good spot now.
Mm-hmm.
Like 21st, 20th, 21st, somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel more pressure going into this season with the classic being where it is?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say so. I'm still going to try and fish out there the best of my ability. I mean, some of the tournaments I go to and just try to survive. Some of them I go to and I just fish to win. And I feel like that's a good way to look at it. Ones I know that I can do good in, then I try to win those. And the ones that I'm probably going to struggle in, I just try to survive.
Obviously, you're a member of the Surge Squad. That particular week, you were Sergeant Surge. The following week, Sergeant Surge became Tucker. Thankfully, he got off the fortnight. But what does that group mean to you? What does it do for you?
Yeah, we're like family. I mean, we travel all the tournaments together. None of us live like right next to each other. And I guess Loberg and Tucker kind of do, but we all travel kind of at the same time and try to get there at the same time. Then hang out every night, rig up, talk about the lakes, and we all work as a team. We aren't sharing like waypoints or anything like that. We're trying to help all of us break down the lake and do good.
There's a lot of teams in the Elite Series. How does your team work together? Like, do you guys talk to each other throughout the day during practice, or is this just an evening thing?
Yeah, no, we'll talk to each other throughout the day. Every now and then, all four of us will be like we don't plan it or anything, but we'll all just be on a merged call, called a surge merge, and we're all just on there talking. Usually it's because we're not catching anything and we're all bored. But whenever we get on the phone, one of us usually catches something, or all of us do, whatever. We have a lot of fun. Practice doesn't get very boring.
No. So, but a surge merge is not a good thing if that's happening and everyone's struggling.
Usually, I mean, it could be a good thing if we're somewhere really good. And we're all like, oh yeah, we're messing them up on this. They ain't going to be good for these guys. But like, usually if we're struggling, call us.
How did you four come together? Like, I think most people would think you all grew up together, but that's not the facts.
Yeah, no, I mean, Emil, obviously, he's from Lanier, fished against him the last several years and been competitors. We didn't really like each other at first because he was fishing on my brush. I'm just kidding. But
you didn't like him at one time?
We liked each other, but we wanted to beat each other bad. Like, we're like, damn, Emil beat me. I got to beat him next time. Something like that, just friendly little. And then he did the Open same year. And he did the All-American year before me, and he won that. So that was cool. And we did the Opens, and we had a big party that night. Loberg came, Emil came, and then we was like, oh, we might as well just stay together next year and get this thing rolling.
It's worked out pretty good, I would imagine, for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's been a good time. Me and Tucker, we traveled together in the Open, so we were kind of like Yeah, and then Emil and Loberg. Loberg's here too. Y'all see him in a minute. They traveled together in the Opens, and we just kind of merged together. It worked out good. I didn't even know Loberg till like the 8th tournament of the Opens. I knew his name. I didn't even know what he looked like.
Since we're talking about him, let's get him in here right now. Loberg, get in here. You're gonna have to get real close to your buddy.
Oh yeah, we've been closer before. So,
what's the closest you've ever been, Loberg?
There's been a few unfortunate times where we had to share a bed together because renting houses across the country can be kind of a pain in the butt, and we've had to bunk together.
Oh yeah, it gets kind of a pain in the butt whenever we're renting them the day before it's supposed to be, or the day of. We've done that too.
Yeah.
Well, why are you guys so like disheveled? Like Murray, you were literally renting your house for the next one while, like on the same day you needed said house, like on the Sunday, right?
Yeah.
We get so excited about bass fishing.
We just forget.
Like tournament fishing in general. We get so pumped up to go catch a bass. We just forget about booking an Airbnb.
All right. What did you think of Paul Marks when you first heard of him, Loberg?
So when I first heard of him was Okeechobee, the Open. That was the first one, right?
Yeah, it was
the first one. He was leading. Weren't you leading?
I don't know, maybe for
the top 10 or whatever. I saw him on live. I'm like, who in the heck is this guy? Like, this guy's nuts looking. He's wearing boots and shorts. Like, this guy's insane. And then I'm like, all right, we gotta deal with him this year in the Opens. And then the next tournament, Lake Ouachita, top 10s again. I'm like, bro, who is this guy? And then throughout the season, we kind of got to know each other a little bit because we were kind of battling out for the top 9 spots. Same with Tucker. Yeah. And then we kind of all just jived together at the end of the year.
Yep.
Do you think – I mean, I feel like that same thing isn't happening as much with the EQs. Like the 9 events when everybody was battling it out, the EQs seems to have kind of nullified that. I don't even know what to compare, but the bonding experience that a lot of you guys went through.
Bonding for sure, because going through 9 Opens is like it's very grueling, and you're going through like a hardship in a way, like going through some highs and really lows and things like that as a team, together, and it kind of brings you together. Like, dang, we made it through that.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like I don't know how to explain it.
But it is like a bonding. Like
it is.
It's something you have in common,
It is. We all made it together. Yeah. It's like making a football team or something,
Yeah. And through 9, you're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. Like the way it is right now, like you can't have a low. Like in the EQs, you can't have a bad day, or you're done because it's 3 events. But with 9, you can recover. And everybody's going to have highs and lows, I would imagine.
No doubt. Did you have any in the hundreds in the Opens?
Not in the Opens, no.
I had 2 over 100, 2 finishes worse than 100, and still somehow made it. Like,
well, he top 10 the rest of them.
I'm not good at math, but I know that works out. Yeah. So what are you doing there, Loberg? Just hanging out?
So I'm actually getting my truck wrapped. It's a place not too far from his house. And because I got a new truck, and then we're going to fish a Tuesday nighter night on Lanier. Hopefully catch a couple big spots.
Is Emil fishing that Tuesday nighter?
We're trying to get him to.
We might be sleeping right now.
Scared, probably.
Yeah.
Me and Emil fished one earlier in the year, and we won. So I think me and Loberg, we're going to take Emil tonight.
Nice. All right, I'll let you go back to being the studio audience, but we couldn't have you in the background without bringing you in.
I did.
So did you two share a bed together? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, we've all shared. Actually, has anyone shared a bed with Emil?
Dude, yeah, it's insane.
Loberg has.
ICAST last year, it's the worst thing in the world.
Emil's like a monkey or something, sleeping at night. Just kicking around, no blankets left.
Oh, he's a bad bed mate, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah, well, he can't control that, dude. He's sleeping. He's just an active person.
Oh, yeah. No, it's not a big deal as long as you're not the one that has to sleep with him. Then you're good.
Paul, do you know much about peppers, like hot peppers?
No. I've had habaneros and stuff like that. I've never tried a ghost pepper.
Yeah.
But I do like putting hot sauce on about everything.
When was your experience with habaneros?
I got them on my hands when I was a little kid. One of my friend's dads brought them over, grew them in his garden, and I just rubbed my eye, barely rubbed it, and fell asleep with frozen peas on my eyes. Woke up the next morning, still all swollen. It was pretty painful. It was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, I imagine. This year, 50-50, how's it working out? What do you think?
It's been good. I wish we had it every tournament, just another tool, and all of us can fish, obviously. Look at the point standings and all that. A lot of young guys are crushing it, and I don't think it matters. Wish we had it for all of them.
I feel like no matter what way you want to look at that, people can make a case. You know what I mean? Like people that think that certain young guys aren't catching them, they'll say, well, look at this. And then, they ignore the ones that are. Like, I just feel like you're going to have to catch them either way.
Yeah, you do. I mean, look, there's a lot of the old veterans that are struggling too. It's just part of it. Sometimes you aren't going to catch them.
Do you think it's helped anglers respect each other a little more?
I think so, for sure. For sure, because some of them, scoper. Then look at AOI, and he's right up there. So it's good.
Yeah. I'm going to have Chris Johnston on the same podcast, both champions. If you could ask him one question, what would it be? Any question. You can phone a friend. You can allow Loberg to help you on this too.
It's a tough one. I want to ask him like a million questions.
You just won.
I wonder how him and his brother divide practice. Seems like they really work together and break down some wakes. I'd be curious how they really manage that.
I'll ask him. I'll get you an answer. You will get an answer. How do you guys manage practice? Is that part of the Surge Squad working together, or is it free for all?
But it's kind of just a free for all, and we all end up usually. I think we all have kind of a similar fishing style. Loberg's a little bit different. He's a lot older, and his fish. He's fished like a lot of grass and stuff in California. He's definitely better than all of us at chatterbaiting and frogging and punching, doing all that stuff. So usually he'll go on a little side quest on that and try to figure it out.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mount. Beat Down Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beat Down Outdoors. Now back to the show.
2 years into the Year Elite Series career, how many events do you think a member of the Surge Squad would have been late for if Loberg was not there to wake you guys up in the morning?
Probably a good amount. I don't know. Practice, I'm a little bit harder to wake up. Tournament rolls around, I'm ready to rock. I'm usually waking everyone up. Loberg's usually already up, but I'm flashing the lights on Tucker and Emil and shaking them in the bed, trying to get them up. But there would have been a few late blast offs. There's no doubt.
Who's the worst, Tucker or Emil?
I think they're neck and neck. What do you think, Loberg?
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
They kind of flip-flop every other tournament or so.
Paul, what is your personal biggest pet peeve? What pisses you off?
Extension cords being like...
What?
Extension cords being like all knotted up or something. It irritates me.
Why?
Now I worked at a spot out of high school, and we raveled a lot of cords up, and I just got OCD about it. Want to keep them.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, I am popping breakers every single night when we get to Airbnb. We got to kind of spread out all the cords and find different circuits and open windows, find cracks in the whenever they have like a insect mesh net, you got to figure out a way around those.
Feels like they're flowing now. Once you start to think of one, you've got many.
Yeah. There's a ton. The extension cords comes to mind first. Yeah. I don't know why it irritates me.
Yeah. What's your favorite sound? If you had to close your eyes and hear one sound, Somebody said, what is your favorite sound?
Sound whenever I like reel down and set the hook, like a reel set, and kind of hear the line and going through the eyes and then the drag starting to rip. That's probably it. So that's probably everyone's. Other than that, yeah, just drag or some line, singing when you set the hook.
I hear you.
Or whatever.
What's your favorite smell?
I have no idea.
That's all right.
Flowers.
What'd you say?
Flowers? I don't know. I mean, what even?
Shut up. You don't like the smell of flowers, do you?
Bass. Some bass have like some distinct smells,
Let's go back to the flowers. Do you like the smell of flowers, or were you just panicked for an answer there?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get it. I don't like it. Like my wife, I get my wife flowers, and she's like, "Oh, they smell so good," and I'm like, I don't.
But what else smells good? That's what they make like scents out of.
A lot of things smell good.
Give me an example. What is your favorite smell?
I've got a lot of favorite smells. Dude, I'll take you to an old school one. The smell of two-stroke in the morning. Like if you go back to an old bass tournament, that smell in the morning, like when everybody's motors, I mean, it's not quite as much anymore. There's like a smell you get often, like it's kind of a springy, kind of earthy smell. Like sometimes when you're driving to a boat ramp and it's, rained the night before or whatever, there's kind of like a earthy smell in the air. I like that. I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them. But you never stop to think, like, what is my favorite smell?
No.
Do you remember
smelling every day now? I'm riding around, whatever, trying to find my favorite one.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably some stuff you enjoy. Do you remember the moment you got addicted to the sport of fishing? Like, do you have a moment like that, or?
Since I could walk, I guess. I mean, I don't have a moment where I was, man, I gotta do this as my job or anything. I just always loved fishing, and I'll reel on anything. I like to catch it all. So, doesn't matter. Just very convenient. I'm like bass fishing. I'm good at it. So,
where do you think you'd be if it wasn't for bass fishing? Like, if you didn't have this, who in the hell is Paul Marks?
No idea, to be honest with you. My dad, he's the landscaping company, so I might be working for him, doing some landscaping or doing something outside. I wouldn't be in a desk. I can promise you. I can't sit still. You're lucky you even got me here for this long.
What's your most embarrassing moment you've had on tour?
Ooh, I got two of them. Both were at the Classic this year. Day one blast off, I wasn't in the right order. I was like 3 boats late. Whatever, I didn't even care.
Yeah.
Second day, I was up there early. I was in the back the first day, and I couldn't hear. Me and Loberg actually were back there. Our poles got hung together whenever we were like pulled down in the current, And I was idling up through there. I wasn't even against a wall or nothing. I'm just like, whatever. I'm going to go fishing. And then the next day, everything was going good. Idle down to that next bridge, go to get on plane, spear a wave in front of all those people, completely soaked. I had a camera guy that day, completely soaked him. I didn't get that wet, so I felt bad for him. It was kind of cold, it wasn't warm.
Yeah.
Completely soaked him. He was in tennis shoes. I looked over, he's just drenched. But it was completely slick. I just hit a wave perfect. And whoosh.
Why? Like, were you just distracted by all the hoopla?
No, I just got on plane. It was just a freak deal. I've never speared a wave on blast off in my life. It happens at the Classic in front of all those people.
The day one, nobody would have noticed when you're out of order because just so you know, I say the names of the boats when they pass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't look at lists, so I guess my inability to be more professional probably helps you guys in that way. So it's like the only people that'll ever know you're out of order. Even if you went legit, like way out of order, like if you're boat one and you went out last, guess what? I'm not going to introduce you as boat one. I mean, I'm introduced the boat that's in front of me, so nobody would have noticed that. The the spearing the wave, that's,
I'm still waiting for a video to come out. So, someone's got it. If someone has it, send it to me. That would be cool.
It might look badass, dude. You might. Well, those aren't very embarrassing, I wouldn't think. What's the most embarrassing moment of another Surge member's career?
Well, we got a ton of them. I don't know. No clue.
You contradicted each other, Paul. You said, we got a ton of them. I don't know. No clue.
I know, because there's so many. It's hard to think about. I mean.
All right.
Emil fell in the lake, and that was pretty funny.
Oh, that was funny, yeah.
Tucker did sleep in last year, Toyota championship.
He did. That's right.
Yep. I'm trying to think, is there any other times we've been late to anything? Or I don't know. Besides just little nitpick stuff at the house, I can't think anything crazy.
My favorite Emil one was it was first or second event on tour. He's just getting to know the service guys and everything like that. And I forget where we were, but everybody was just trashing everything. And then, as if things can't be trashed enough, Emil goes to load his boat one evening and leaves his trolling motor down and totally trashes his trolling motor on the way in.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. But I feel like that's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that's part of life on the road. Did you have any cool pets growing up?
A bunch of them.
What was the coolest one?
Coolest one was probably a squirrel. His name was Peanut. We had him for, I think, 7 or 8 years. He just lived around the house, running around. He was cool. Took him for show and tell. He was climbing on me, jumped on my teacher's head. It was cool.
You literally boxed him up and see, listen, my house, we had a chipmunk that my kids called Chippy. I'm certain it was 700 different chipmunks. Like, I didn't really there's Chippy again. Yes, that's Chippy. Yeah. And any chipmunk that you throw a nut or whatever at, guess what? It's going to eat it, and it feels like it's Chippy. But this was an actual squirrel that you were able to put in a box and bring to school. Mm-hmm. Like, it would just...
Yeah, he lived in the house, so you just hold him. He'd climb around on you. He had a cage that he kind of stayed in, then he'd come out and climb around. He had the pylons in the house. He'd sit up on top of there. Dang. He was cool. I'll find a picture of him and send it to you. He's cool.
Yeah. What did the other kids at school react like when you brought him for show and tell?
They thought it was cool, and then the next year I brought one of my pet ducks, and he was walking around on the desk in a little circle, poop on the desk. It's pretty funny. Not just a little turd. It was like a splat. But I had a lot of cool pets, tons of chickens, and I had a little garter snake one time. I caught at recess at school and brought him home.
Wow, you really have had I threw out a generic just pet question, and you took a lot of none of these pets that you've named are normal pets. You've named one cat or dog.
And my black lab, he's awesome. He's almost small now. He's the best dog ever.
Wow. But you've had squirrels, chickens.
Mm-hmm. We had a raccoon for a little while.
My God, I was just about to say any raccoons.
Mm-hmm. I had a possum too. I can send you the video. I have it on Instagram. I caught him in a trap, and we were just going to relocate it. I was I'm going to keep him for a while. Kept him in a cage in the basement. It had, because they're marsupials, I think is what they're called, like a kangaroo, with the pouch. Had all its babies in there, and then they grew up. They were really cute little possums. Big possums, not that cute, but little ones, cutest little animals. And my dad took them. I was out of town somewhere and let them go across the dam, so I didn't trap them again or whatever. And all the little babies jumped on her and ran through the woods.
Damn.
She climbed on her back. She took off.
Damn, see, this is the Paul Marks that I like to get to know. Dude. So you've had raccoon. Tell me about the raccoon. You haven't told me. You just said you had a raccoon.
My brother actually found them on the lake. They were night fishing, and they heard something fall in the water, and a hawk or owl or something was toting this thing across the lake and dropped it. And they went over there and netted it. And we had it for a while, and then it didn't last very long. It was sick. And
they'll tear up your house, though, won't they? It was just a little guy. It was a little guy. Your parents are very accepting of shit by the sounds of things.
My dad's not really. My mom likes animals, so that was good. We could get some pet.
Wow. What is the worst? I mean, by trying to domesticate that much wildlife, at some point you must have had a bad experience. What was the worst experience with one of those critters?
The first cat we had, we caught it at my great aunt's house, like completely wild, and that thing destroyed me. I mean, I had scratches all over my body, but eventually he tamed down. He was a good pet.
Cats shouldn't be trusted, I don't think. I mean, they're literally little, I mean, they think they're little lions and stuff. I mean, they're very, but you do better with wildlife, it seems. Like a cat, that's too domesticated for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Mullins has a pet raccoon right now.
Oh, it looks cool.
Yeah. What pet have you not owned that you would love to have at some point?
They have these things in like a Russian sable. It's like a little mink type deal. They look pretty cool to have. Runs around, acts crazy. I see videos of those. I don't know. I have a bunch of different. I don't want anything too huge.
No.
It's like a dog size at the biggest.
If you got this, what is it called? A Russian sable?
Mm-hmm.
If you got this, would you take it on the road with you or just leave it at home? Like that, I guess whatever you have has to be attuned to traveling.
Yeah. I mean, probably could teach it to stay in the truck and be good. And be a good traveling animal.
I feel like if the Surge Squad got a Surge pet, I feel like the fitting pet would be, and this doesn't include Loberg, like a lot of the analogies. I feel like the pet would be a sloth.
A sloth?
Yeah, everyone loves them, but they're very slow moving.
Yeah.
Kind of cute in their own way.
And it's like couldn't run away from us. We're staying at Airbnb and disappear. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would think is better than a sloth for the Surge pet?
I don't know. A moose or something would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think you can have a moose, dude. Like that. I mean, that's a Clydesdale with horns. Have you ever been near a moose?
No, that's what I want to go. It's like bucket list to go hunting the moose.
They're shockingly large. They're, people die when they hit them with cars, but not because they hit the moose, but because the moose ends up going like, this is true story. And these are crap that you'll never hear from anybody that doesn't live where I live. So if you're going to hit a moose, let's all learn together here. If you're going to hit a moose, and a cop told me this, I used to think it was just an urban myth. If you're going to hit a moose, you got the point where you're like, hey, it's happening. I'm going to hit this moose. You got a split second. What you got to do is this. Duck. Because they find people all the time where the moose, you take out its legs and it lines right up with it takes you out. But people that have ducked, allegedly, you're going to have a very uncomfortable hour or so until somebody comes and finds you. Mm-hmm. You're going to be under a moose, but you're still going to be alive. So you feel like you're smarter now?
Yeah, I do feel like I'm smarter.
These are the things I can teach you, my friend.
I like to come up north for a while every summer, so I might run into a moose one day. You never know.
But you still got to go a little further north than where you've been. But I can bring you up to where the moose are. I mean, dude, it is in the spring of the year. So here's the weird thing. So we use salt on our roads. You don't know anything about this living where you live, but we use salt on our roads to melt the ice, right?
Here. Yeah.
Well, so in the spring, the moose, like if you go up to Algonquin Park where there's a lot of moose stuff, the moose come out and they're all along the edge of the road just licking salt. And it's Travis. It's hard to get around them, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I haven't.
You good with that?
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I've heard some weird noises and some stuff. I was fishing in the marina one night. Thought someone was throwing rocks at us off the bank, and then just like a huge splash goes. It sounded like someone threw a boulder in, and then we're fishing around the marina and we hear like someone's throwing more rocks, and come to find out it was a beaver, just like being territorial. But that was probably the scariest I've been on the water at night. Other than that, though, I spent a ton of time in the dark, walking to deer stands and duck blind, stuff like that. I've never had anything.
Yeah. It's shocking the noise a beaver can make with its tail. I mean, you really do think it's boulders. Again, another area of my expertise. I know a lot about the beaver. Some would say I know more than you.
Beaver would be cool.
A pet beaver? No. No, they're very, dude, you get beaver fever. They'll bite you. It's very bad. They carry disease. My buddy who is a pest control expert, I'm sure there's a much more official name than that, but he's a badass. He'll help you with pets. He told me the one thing that not pets, but things that you would make pets that most people want rid of in their house. And he told me the worst thing to trap is a beaver. And the reason why is because said beaver, other things, when you open the trap to let them go, they take off. A beaver comes at you because it knows it can't outrun you. So they're very aggressive.
Huh. I trapped a lot of them. I had one in a snare that didn't quite, I don't know. Yeah, no, I trapped a beaver. It wasn't quite expired when I got there, and it tried to attack me. But it was still kind of caught in a trap, so it didn't get me. But it tried. It was big, too.
So my theory is right. I mean, they're not. Don't have a pet beaver. I mean, beaver will get you in trouble.
But you've never seen those videos? People have the beaver, and then they'll take all its toys, stick them in the doorway, act like it's building a little dam. You haven't seen that?
I have not. You need to send me one of those videos.
I will.
Do you spend a lot of time watching that kind of video?
Yeah, I mean, I just like cool video. Like my brother likes watching them too, just like cool animal stuff. Like he sent me one the other day that was cool about a killer whale. It was just like sticking its head up through the bunch of ice in the Arctic somewhere. And it was just like sticking its head up and looking at the people standing on the ice, like its little eyeball. It's pretty freaky looking. But cool stuff like that. Animals are cool.
Coolest critter that swims, if you ask me, killer whales. I mean, they've never, ever attacked a human in the wild. Mm-hmm. Very intelligent.
There were some cases the last couple of years, like a little wild pack of them.
Really?
Some guy jumped in and hit one of the babies, and they started flipping boats somewhere.
Wow. I mean, that's generally the reaction for most things when you start messing with their babies.
Yep.
Yeah. Would you swim with a killer whale?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
The water will probably be pretty cold wherever you're at, but be all right.
Yeah. I got suits for that. I mean, you don't have to be in there long. I'd like to do it. I think it'd be awesome. They're, the problem when you swim with a killer whale or a shark or any of that crap that I've been dumb enough to do is you do stop and think, like, if I do get eaten and die, nobody's like, I'm going to be a joke for the rest of existence. Like, nobody's going to feel bad for me.
Mercer that ate my shark. Could have been swimming with it, you know?
Like the crocodile hunter, and I think he was one of the most awesome humans ever on earth, but nobody was like shocked. They were probably just shocked that it was a stingray that got him. Of all the crap that he's done. What's the craziest thing you've ever done in your life?
It's been a lot of it's been a bunch. It's hard to think off the top of my head.
I know. Do you have a hard time with that, thinking off the top of your head?
I do. I went for my graduation present. Me, my sister, and one of my buddies, Harrison, we went to down to Florida and caught Goliath grouper with a hand line. We jumped in with them when we caught them. Then it was a big one. It was probably 500 pounds. The guide said, he's like, yeah, it's probably a 500 plus pounder. And it was huge. And we jumped in, took some pictures with it. Right when we got out, like 12-foot bull shark, ginormous one, comes swimming beside the boat. I'm like, oh shit, glad we got out. They were good.
Where'd you do that? Boca Grande?
No, it was near Stewart, Florida.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I've done, I mean, it's shocking how big, like, you have to get in the water. Like, I've done the same thing with grouper, and I mean, you can't take him out of the water, but when you get in the water, I think it's shocking, like, just how much, like, I kept looking at its spine on, its pectoral fin, and it's like each spine is like the size of your pinky nail, and you're like, I kept thinking about how many times it bass jams you in the hand. If this thing jams you, you're screwed.
I actually had we caught like a 120-pound Warsaw one time, and I was holding it, and it shook, fell out of my hand. Like I had it by the gills, and it fell down, and its fin went all the way through my foot into my flip flop. All the way through there.
Like, did it go through your foot?
Yeah, through my foot into the flip flop.
Like a nail.
Like a nail. Yeah, so I took a nail and through my foot.
Did you have to get medical attention?
No, we just cleaned. We were like 100 miles offshore or more, and just cleaned it up. Had some good soap in the boat.
Good soap.
Cleaned it out. It was good to go.
Oh, we got to check it. Has Loberg lost any of his limbs from his care of his?
Nah, he with his little scratches. No, he's good.
That was nothing.
It was pretty gnarly. It was.
It was. It was.
I just can't believe we got him and his camera guy. Same.
Yeah.
When I rolled in, it was on day 3. I rolled in and Loberg like showed me his hand. So I was like, "What'd you do?" Then his camera guy held his hand up too. I was like, "What?" He's like, "Slung an ear." I'm like, "Did the ear fly off and hit you guys?" I was like, "Oh, that both you guys are injured."
Yeah, no, it was definitely an adventure. Well, dude, you're a 2-time Elite Series champion, and I have more questions for you, but the internet seems to not want to let those questions happen. But I appreciate you doing this.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun.
We're gonna do the Surge Pod here soon.
Let's do it. Let's rip it.
Let it rip, Tater Chip. 2-time Elite Series champion, Paul Marks.
Yep.
Loberg was supposed to cheer there, but he didn't. Weak. Oh, thank you.
He's right here in the corner.
Who knew that Paul Marks had a plethora of wildlife that he tried to domesticate? I wonder if you can even do that anymore. Would they allow you to bring a squirrel to show and tell? Do they even have show and tell anymore? But I'm thankful that he showed us and told us. But here's the weird thing about the universe is connected in a weird way. So remember the story that I told about the beaver and my buddy Lincoln, who is a wildlife specialist? Well, I told that yesterday when we were recording this. But today I'm recording, these bumpers. That's how it works. Sorry to bring you into the magic of podcasting. And Lincoln shows up to do a little work on our house. So, the universe must have been bringing us together. If you need something taken, I don't have wildlife that needs to be removed. Well, we live on the edge of nature, thank God. It is beautiful, but like our house is there and nature for a long, long time. And when you live there, you need to wrap, kind of all your vents and everything in your house in some kind of caging so that the critters don't get in. And Lincoln has helped me out with that right now. So shout out to Lincoln from, let me read this so I say it right, Wild Out Wildlife Control. If you're in my part of the world and you need a little help, give Lincoln a shout. Wild Out. Is that Wild Out Wildlife Control? I should be better at my job. But somebody that is very wild and is very good at his job. He was a wild young man, and his children, well, they've turned into just like their father and uncle. Many reports I've heard that they terrorized the Bassmaster Classic with their mini sticks in the hotel hallways. They are the Johnston brothers. They're kids, not them. I'm sure. Well, I'm sure Corey and Chris were part of it too. But here he is, 2-time Elite Series champion, back-to-back Progressive Bassmaster Angler of the Year, and now 2-time Bassmaster Century belt holder, Chris Johnston. Chris Johnston, you're a freaking 2-time Elite Series champion. Your kid is ripping by in an ATV without his shirt on and a pellet gun in his hands. Feels like full circle moment in life.
It 100% does. I was just talking to you about how I'm just moving into a house. I took it over start of February, right when our fishing season started. So don't have much of a break this season. When I come home, it's I got a lot of things to do. I got a big to-do list. And I'm home now, and we're just unpacking things, and the kids are outside. They got a new little place to ride their 4-wheelers around and chase animals and stuff. So they're happy. I'm just watching at the window, make sure one of them don't crash here. So there's a good possibility that happens.
Yeah. Is there a lot of crashes, Chris?
Well, before I left, there was a good one. My youngest, he ran through a cedar hedge and on the 4-wheeler, and he was okay, but And I'm like, what happened? He's like, well, I wasn't really looking where I was going. So I guess he'll learn the hard way.
Yeah. Win number 2, what does that mean to you personally?
It honestly feels like it's been a long time coming. It's hard to believe. I've been fishing the Elite Series. I believe this is my 8th year. And I'm not trying to sound greedy, but only my 2nd win. And I've been close many times. And my first win was back in 2020. It feels like forever ago. So it feels great to get a win. Like I said, I'm usually pretty good at making top 10s, but last year I never made a top 10. This is over halfway through the 2nd season. I hadn't even made a top 10. So it feels really good to make a top 10 and then put a bow on it with this win. So it honestly feels pretty relieving and feels pretty good to do it in that fashion too.
I said it to you on stage, and I honestly believe this. I mean, you have 6 seconds, but I think because of everything you have accomplished with the Angler of the Year titles and just the amount of times you're in the top 10, you and Corey, I feel like people don't notice those 6 seconds. Do you notice them?
I 100% do, but I haven't had a second in probably a year or two. So I kind of forget how close I was for a couple of years there. I was knocking on the door a couple times a year, and it gets pretty frustrating being close and not getting it done. So like I said, to win one is special, but to win one with that kind of weight and that fishing, that's one of those like once in a lifetime tournaments that happens. So super cool. And I didn't expect it to go down the way it did, though. It's pretty special. I also think you set such a weird standard for yourself in the way that, like, coming into this, and I find myself even saying it, that you're having an off season, and you are to the standard that we're used to seeing with you. But I mean, even coming into this event, you were inside the classic cut. You're even deeper, I think you're 19th or something now. Like, so you're doing good. Kids at the window. Oh yeah.
They're welcome to join anytime.
Hold on. Let me quiet them down. Sorry, what we were saying. But yeah, it feels like it's been an off year for me this year. Just because I don't know, I missed 2 cuts. And I think I had like a 70th and a 60th. And I try to be pretty consistent. I may not win a lot of tournaments, but I usually try and cash a check every tournament. So this year I was flirting around the classic cut line, and I don't like that. I like when you get to the last 2 or 3 tournaments and there's no pressure because, hey, I already made the classic, and just fish carefree and you can get to fish for the win. So I'm hoping to have a good tournament on the Pascatank and kind of secure my classic berth. And then go to Champlain. It's no live scope. I haven't fished on Champlain in years without live scope, but it's going to be kind of old school fishing, and I can gamble a little more because Ticonderoga is going to be in play. Obviously got big largemouth, but it's a long run, bit of a gamble. But that'll be good. I can go do stuff like that, and if I finish 70th, so be it. But you can also have a shot at winning it doing that.
Does it feel different to you this year at all?
The fishing?
Yeah.
It feels like, last year, especially the last 2 years, like I couldn't do anything wrong. Every decision I made, if I'd pull into a spot, just kind of winging it, I'd pull into a spot and get a couple bites. This year just doesn't feel the same. Like, I'm just always struggling. Feels like an uphill battle to try and get bites. Just feel like I wasn't in the right areas. And, this tournament, obviously, it kind of flipped the script and I couldn't do anything wrong. The confidence was there. And that's kind of feels like how it goes with fishing. When you're fishing good, you just can't do anything wrong. And but this season, I just feel like I've been fighting it and just struggling to make those checks. So hopefully this is a turning point in the season. We get back to how it's been and just cashing checks and hopefully have a crack at winning one more before the year's out.
Yeah, it definitely felt like you could do nothing wrong. Like even when you did wrong things this week, it turned out like the amount of fish that were wrapped around pilings and stuff, and you would just any other time they get off. But
it was just honestly incredible. After day one, and I realized the size of some of these fish. I I had 20-pound Seaguar Tatsu on, and you set the hook and you can't control like a 4 to an 8-pound bass under a dock on fluorocarbon. It's going around posts and swimming around. And I was like, I got to at least put 22-pound test on. And I can't believe how they would swim out. Like they go around posts, wrap themselves up, and then unwrap themselves and swim back out to me. That normally doesn't happen. And people know that. They get hung up, they break your line. And it just, huge kudos to that line for not breaking. But I was also trying to be careful. Like if you horse them and you try and pull them out too hard, that's when your line breaks. So I was just kind of feathering them, let them do their own thing, like keeping tension on. And luckily they came back out. It just, it doesn't always happen like that. But the nice thing is when they're eating that bait, they had the whole bait in their mouth. So there wasn't something sticking out of their mouth to catch on that wood when they were swimming by it or something to pull off. It was just a matter of not breaking them off. It worked out 100%. And I couldn't make a wrong decision. Even I don't know if I told you on stage, I pulled, it was kind of like last year. I pulled back into Takeoff Creek. I came back a little early and I was like, let's just fish here for 10 minutes. We're safe. We're kind of within sight of the weigh-in. And I said, we'll fish these 3 docks. And I said, all right, this is the last dock. I turned the nose of the boat out to head out to the middle. And I was just finishing my cast and I hook one. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, this is actually a pretty good one. It comes up and jumps. I'm like, oh my God. And then at this point we had, I had 29 something in the boat on the scale. And I'm like, this is a big one. And I fight it. And the cameraman's like, that's a giant. I put it in the boat and I didn't even get a chance to weigh it, but it had to be 6.5 pounds. Just literally couldn't do anything wrong. There's probably 100 people that fished those docks throughout the previous 4 days. And I pulled in the end of the day and caught a 6.5. So just, it was meant to be and things were going right. And I hope to keep it going that way the rest of the year.
Let's talk about the Kyoiki. And then I actually did a little research for our conversation, which is unlike me. But at one point in the tournament, you said this lure is my whole tournament. It's kind of like an A-rig when it first came out. Yeah. Explain to me that.
So even take it back a little further before the A-rig, the Wacky Rig Cinco came out. Mm-hmm. Every tournament was being won on that bait. The fish had never seen it. You could throw it under a dock. You could throw it in a tree. It didn't matter. The fish had never seen it and they ate it and the big fish ate it. That was the key. Then all of a sudden fish see it. It always works, but not necessarily the big ones. They kind of get used to it and you may not get a 7 or 8 pounder to look at it under a dock. Well, fast forward a little bit, the A-rig came out. The fish had never seen anything like it. And you could throw that anywhere in a lake and catch the biggest fish in the lake on that bait. And then after a few years, it still works, but it didn't have the same effect. And now all of a sudden we got a koiki. The fish have never seen anything like it. It's something completely new to them. And the key is the big fish have never seen it and they're very curious and they see this big, I don't even know what it imitates, a sea urchin is what people are saying, but a spider or whatever, but they see this big bait come in the water and all of a sudden they're looking at it like, what is that? And they don't have hands and fingers to be like touchy feely, like, what is that? And then all of a sudden I twitch it and they're like, ooh, it's moving. So then they get a little excited and then it twitches again. They're like, oh, okay. Like, what is this thing? All of a sudden you get 2 twitches and they react like, oh my God, it's getting away. I got to try it quick. And they just put their lips around it. And all of a sudden, hey, we got them hooked up. But it's going to be a bait. And I don't think it's going to work like that for 5 years. But until these fish get used to seeing it, the big fish are going to eat it because they just want to see what it is because they're curious creatures. But I will say in practice, I had a lot of bites, but I wasn't sure on the size because I couldn't see them when they ate it under a dock or something. And something I learned, I had a hook keeper on my bait and I'd throw it under a dock and I'd twitch it. And all of a sudden you get one to grab it. But when you go to twitch it, you get a little weight. Well, they open their mouth really quick on it. It's not like when I flip a jig in, if I flip a Cinco into a dock, you can feel that fish and it's like, okay, that feels like a heavy fish. He holds on to it for 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I learned that koiki, they let go of it almost as quick as they eat it. It's super crazy. And in practice, like, oh, maybe they're just small fish. They're not holding on to it or they're letting go. I was very surprised when a lot of those fish that were letting it go super quick were actually the 4 to 8 pounders. It's just, they just want to touch it and feel it. And I'm not sure they're so key on eating it, but they don't know what it is.
What happened in practice for you to start throwing that bait?
I had it rigged up going into the tournament. I had it rigged up at Santee, or where we were, Murray before that. And I was throwing it on live scope, and I had some big ones come up, follow it. I couldn't get them to eat it. But I just kind of had a notion going into Santee. I'm like, I'll keep it tied on and maybe throw it around some like cypress trees or something. Wasn't really thinking docks, but I just wanted to have it on my deck and try it during practice. Well, as you know, Santee Cooper is full of grass now, more grass than I've ever seen in most of the locals. And I figured it was going to be one in grass. When there's grass in a lake like that, it's probably going to be one. The spawn was almost done. So I was fishing grass the first day of practice, and I'm like, it wasn't going super well. I caught 1-4 and some small ones, and there were some docks, and I was like, I like fishing docks. I grew up fishing docks in the tri-lakes, and I was like, I'll go try them. And I pull up to the first dock, and I look over at my koiki. I'm like, a koiki on docks. I know they catch them on it on live scope. I'll throw that under there, and I twitched it a few times, catch a 4-pounder. I was like, all right. I don't know if that was lucky or not. And I go 2 docks down, I twitch it, and I watch it like a 5 to 6 pounder come out and eat it. And that's when it clicked in. I was like, all right, there's something to this. And I fished the next 10 docks or 15 docks, and I had 2 more bites. And then all of a sudden I started running that pattern. And that was in Moultrie, actually, where there's not many docks. But I found a couple stretches that I could get bit, and I could see the fish because the water was so clear. And they were probably 3.5 to 4 pounds on average. So that was the end of day 1 of practice. And I decided to run that on day 2 in the dirtier water up on Marion. And I had 20, 25 bites, shook them all off. And I told my roommates, I'm like, I'm having a lot of bites. And usually on Santee Cooper, if you can get 10 or 15 bites in a day, you're going to get a couple big ones. And I said, I'm like, I think a couple of them felt good, but most of them just felt like 2 or 3 pounders. And so anyways, I ran that, and then I was like, okay, this is a deal, obviously. Like, and my dad called, and he likes to check in every once in a while. I'm like, I don't know. I may have found the winning pattern. I'm like, I'm getting a ton of bites. I don't know how big they are. I'm like, but I'm still in the back of my mind, I'm like, I need something to go with it. I was thinking if I could get like a couple grass fish and then go fish the docks, get a couple kickers on the docks. I still had in the back of my mind, I'm like, you need some grass fish on Santee Cooper. And I would keep the grass honest, could never make it work. And then after practice, I'm like, the biggest fish I think I saw were in that bottom lake. I went there on day 1, and it wasn't happening. I caught 2 close to 4. And then I came back up to Marion, and I caught 3 over 4 in the afternoon, saved my day, got 21 pounds. And then day 2, I was like, all right, I'm not going back down there. I'm going to fish where I shook all the fish off. And I think by 8:30, I had 27 pounds in the boat. And I was like, oh boy, these are bigger than I thought. And I was like, I'm not going to fish any of the stuff where I shook a bunch off now. So I'm like, I'll save that for the next day. So I just went fishing new stuff. Like I would just look on my Garmin map and be like, all right, here's a stretch of docks. Looks like it's got deep enough water, and there's not many docks. And I would go fish them, and I caught like a 5. And I wanted to fish them in practice, but it was too windy. And so then I catch a 5. And then at like 9:30, I caught on a new stretch, I caught an 8. I went almost 8. And then the next dock, I caught a 5. It was just, I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then I just kept running that in the afternoon, but I wasn't fishing anything I'd fished in practice. I was trying to save that. But everywhere I went, I just kept getting bit. And then by the end of the day, I went to a new dock, and I caught like a 6.5, and that gave me the 32.5. And I was like, I'm not even trying to really upgrade. I'm just trying to find some new water. So I think I ended up fishing pretty well every dock in Santee Cooper.
It definitely felt easy for you at times, and we'll get into that as the week went on. Did you feel bad to weigh in 32, which was the biggest bag of the entire year, a day after your brother weighed in 29.6,
No.
which was the biggest bag of the year?
Not one bit. Not even. I didn't feel a little bit bad, because to be honest, after practice, I had told him, like, you need to try this koiki, and then he started getting bit. So it was nice to put him in his place.
Yeah. It's wild, actually, when you look at 1 and 2, you and Paulnick, to have kind of called that going into the tournament. And it's weird how I've actually, obviously we are hearing this from you because you won the tournament. But I know somebody that was with Carl during pre-fish, and when Paulnick and Carl were on the phone, Paulnick said what ended up playing to be 100% mind-blowingly true. His exact words were, "A cast without a koiki in this event is a wasted cast." And the way it's worked out, you both figured. I mean, it's so rare that you get 1 and 2 that both have figured it out, and it's that dominant.
Yeah, I've obviously never had a bait that dominant in my hand going into a tournament, and it probably never will like this again. And to be honest, I'm shocked there wasn't more people doing it, because I was worried that, hey, there's not many docks on this lake. If you get 5-10 elite anglers fishing these docks, you're going to be fishing behind someone. It's not going to work very well. So like one dock, I caught on day 2, I caught a 5 3/4 the first cast. The next cast, I caught a 7. It's an isolated dock. And then day 3, I caught a 5 off of my first cast. Day 4, I caught 1 off it. And if you have other anglers hitting that dock, it doesn't work like that for you, throwing that bait. So like a lot of elite anglers know about the bait. And that's why I was shocked that there wasn't more people running that pattern. But 100% you are right. And I said to my dad, I'm like, I think I found a winning pattern. And then as the tournament progressed, it was like, I don't even need another rod on my boat. I just throw a koiki because every big fish is going to eat it. It was crazy.
How do you rig it?
I was using a treble hook. And when a koiki comes, it has a wire through it. So it's already got a hole in it. And on one end of the koiki, there's a hole. So I'm screwing in some sort of tungsten weight. I was using like a Woo tungsten nail weight. It was an 1/8 ounce. I'd stick it in there, but I put some super glue on it first so it wouldn't fall out, and jam that in there. And then on the top, I'd take a 1/0 Gamakatsu treble hook and I hook it through the top, but I'd take a lot of meat and then I hook it through the hole. So the weight is on the bottom, the treble hook's on the top. So it falls like that. And then obviously presentation was huge for that bait. And I was actually thinking to myself on day 3 and 4, I'm like, I'm shocked that I've never had a fish hit it on the fall. Because when I throw it onto the dock, I always let it sink a little bit, get it down. If the dock is 8 feet, I want it down about 4 feet. But I never had a fish hit it on the fall, which is crazy. So you could only get bit with that reaction.
So yeah, I mean, you're not letting it sink all the way to the bottom, obviously, if it's 4 feet. So, I mean, what do you mean? You're like popping it?
So that was the whole key to the bait. You're popping it, or what I like to say is almost working like a jerk bait.
Yeah. So
you can let it get down, and that bait is very slowly falling. So you can keep it in that strike zone and you jerk it. And like I said, I learned this from Live Scope, watching on Live Scope, when you jerk it once, it usually gets the fish's attention. They're like, oh, what is that? And they're semi-curious. Then you twitch it again. They get a little closer. But all of a sudden, when they're close, you give it a double twitch. That's what, like, their fins start doing their little thing. And they're like, oh, double, like that thing's getting away, and they eat it. So it's that reaction, just like a jerk bait. And that was the whole key to that bait, the presentation as well. And with the koiki, like, there's a lot of different baits out there, obviously, but what makes it so special is it's a elastomer material, but it's actually pretty hard. So when you pull that bait, it actually keeps its shape. It doesn't fold over the tentacles when you pull it. So it keeps that profile, and it just pulsates when you pull it, and it pushes a lot of water. And that's what I think makes that bait so good.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
At one point in the tournament, you actually said, I'm not even throwing to docks that have a lot of crap under them, which is the exact opposite of what you hear from anybody fishing docks. Like, you're supposed to fish in the worst ones, the most gnarly ones that you get hung up on. But you were not doing that.
Well, 100%. I'd look under the dock and I'd be like, "Ooh, there's a lot of stuff under there. I don't want to throw my koiki under there," because I have limited supply. Like, I was bumming koikis off people. I ordered some during practice when I realized this was going to happen. I ordered some from California, overnighted them, $120 a pop. And I called my sponsor. I'm sponsored by Hide Up.
Yeah.
And I called them here in Atlanta where they're based at. I'm like, guys, do you have any koikis? I know you're out, but like a sample, or they check their personal stashes and they're like, we have no full cast. Like, we're sorry. They didn't have a thing. So that's why I was buying them where I could. And then if an elite angler got beat out, it was even easier. I'd hate to say it, but I'm like, hey, I'm sorry you got beat out, but do you have any of those koikis? And like, that's where New gave me 2, and that helped me out drastically. But yeah, I only had like 2 or 3 in my boat a day. And at one point I only had 1. So when I looked under the dock and I could see a bunch of brush, I didn't want to throw it in there because I get hung up every time. Like, if that treble hook touches a piece of wood, a fishing line, a dock post, it's stuck every time. So that's what was frustrating about it. And I'm sure there's different ways to rig it. Like, someone probably has some sort of weedless system, but with the hookup ratio on those big fish, the open hook is definitely going to be the best hookup ratio. But but the higher percentage docks are the ones with brush piles under it. So if I knew there was one under it, I might kind of throw it to the side of the brush, what I could see, but I wouldn't throw it in the thick stuff. Hopefully they see it and come out.
Imagine how effective it would have been if you had a rig that you could have.
You would have got a few more bites. One on day 4, I went into a dock. I caught a 5 under it the day before, and it was funny. As I'm going to fish the dock, a local had just fished it and picked up his friend who walked down the dock. He jumped in the boat, and they were 20, 30 feet off the dock trolling away. And I'm like, the odds of me catching a fish are not good, but I'm going by it anyways. I'll fish it. I throw under there, and I hook like a 5 1/4. And they're looking back at me, and the camera guy's like, I don't think he was happy that you caught that, because he could hear them talking to each other. Like, I told you I should have cast it under there. And they were going back and forth. And the camera guy's like, you should have told them they needed a koiki. But I went back to that dock on day 4, and I threw under there, and there was actually like a screen with a little bit of brush, and I got hung on it. And as I went in to get my bait, I could see there was like a 5 1/2 sitting there looking at my bait, hung, and I'm like trying to get it off, and it's just sitting there looking at it. If I could have popped it free, he would have ate it. But as soon as I slid in there with the boat, he took off. But if you could get around the thick stuff without getting hung in it, you were going to get a bite.
I think that I'm not a future teller, not Miss Cleo, but I would make a prediction that second only to koiki knockoffs this year at ICAST will be the release of 700 different rigging methods.
100%. There'll be so many harnesses, weedless hooks for it. And we'll probably laugh like 4 or 5 years from now. We'll probably look back and laugh at how I had it rigged, because there'll be so many better setups. But I had a stupid open hook treble hook thrown under docks, getting hung up every 5th dock. Yeah.
Do you think that part of the negative of dealing with it around the docks is also what made it effective? That's also why you didn't have a ton of guys out there doing it?
Probably. A lot of people are probably scared to throw it under there, because most anglers only have 2 or 3 in their boat max, if they're lucky. So you don't want to throw it on there, get hung up, go in. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. So, so that's probably a good reason. From what I hear, there's 2 elite anglers that have like a whole middle tackle storage box of them though. And actually one elite angler called me this morning. They're like, man, how do I get my hands on some koikis? I'm like, I don't know. I was bumming them off people. Like, I don't have a special collection if that's what you're looking for. He's like, I talked to one of the other elite anglers, one of the young guys. He's like, he has like 80 of them. And he said, he's like, I'll buy one for $200. He's like, no, I'm not selling them. Sorry. So he wouldn't even sell them one. It's kind of funny. So even the people that have them, they won't sell them now.
What do you have any? I mean, my theory on it is this. I've said from the beginning, I think it's a cat toy. That's all it is it's something weird and nuts that you can shake in front of a fish. And whether you're shaking it through forward facing sonar or you're doing what you're doing, it's just, I don't think it imitates anything. But what do you think?
I think I said earlier, like, I don't think it imitates anything in their natural habitat, but I think they're curious creatures. And they're like, that's different. I'm like, and they just want to investigate it. They want to touch and feel it. And the only way they can do that is to put their lips on it. And it sucks when there's a treble hook sticking out of it and they put their lips on it. They get a rude surprise. But that's why I think in like 2 or 3 years from now, they probably going to see one and they're going to swim away really quick because they're like, I know what's going on here. Because I feel like with a jig, with a Cinco, with a jerk bait, like a jig head minnow, that imitates a natural forage for them. So they're always going to eat it. But I just think for right now, this thing is so different that they're curious, and that's why they're eating it. You see it when you're scuba diving or doing something different or going on the boat. The fish are very curious, and they'll come up and they check things out. So that's what they're doing to this koiki, and they think, it's trying to get away from me. I'm going to eat this.
The only weird thing that doesn't make sense to me about it is you're right. I mean, when I'm shooting underwater stuff, I see them investigate. They'll investigate anything. Like literally, I'm certain you throw a cigarette butt in the water and a fish will come check it out. But the weird thing about a koiki is they investigate it with the back of their throat. Like the way they eat it. Like you don't catch any of them like just at the edge. Like they just, like they might spit it out quick, but they inhale it. Like it is wild how they eat it.
And that blows my mind. And that's why it was so good getting them out of the docks, because it was so far in their mouth that they weren't getting hung up on anything when they're swimming through the post. But that's why I was surprised in practice when I was shaking them off that they dropped it so quick. It's just like it's in the back of their throat. But when I go to pull it, like jerk it, they literally must just open their lips and let it go out.
Maybe because it's so much in there. You know what I mean? Like it's a big, like when you inhale it, it's a big thing in there, and
they get the whole thing. It's maybe you might be right because it's so big. They're like, I got to eat the whole thing, so it's way back there. But as soon as they felt that pressure of me going to pop it again, they literally just opened their mouth and let it go out.
You did have some issues with docks. How many times do you think you got hung up this week?
Too many to count. Probably 80 times. That's probably on the light side. That'd be 20 times a day. More than that. Yeah, I was so sick of crawling under docks and getting that bait back. And I don't know why I don't have a lure retriever in my boat. I never really had a need for it until I was throwing this koiki. And if I had that, it would have made my life way easier.
Yeah. I kept saying on live that I was happy some of that stuff was happening to you because it made you seem human. Because otherwise, like that, dude, it felt like you were on a different lake. But let's go through I mean, you got a lot of highlights that'll float around about your career, but you're going to have one low light that is never going to go away, and that is the koiki diving expedition. Tell me what goes through your mind when you realize, I'm not in control. I'm going in the water here.
It was an oh shit moment. It's like, like as soon as you feel like you're going, you can't do anything about it. I was like, oh shit. And it was in such a bad spot between that post and like the boat. And then there's my bait in there. And what I was really worried about when I went in is, I had to do a cartwheel under the water just to get right sided up. I couldn't touch bottom. And then once I'm in there, I'm like, I'm going to get this bait back. Like I'm in here. And I was trying to feel, I'm like, what is going on? And I had to get my head under the water to reach it. But I was worried when I'm trying to feel, that treble hook is sharp. And whenever that's stuck in and my head's under the water, and if I get this treble hook in my finger, I'm stuck. So that was going through my mind, but it's this big clump of fishing net and that treble hook is just buried in it. So I'm like, what a mess. Like any other lure or scenario, I would have broke the line and just got back in the boat and said, you know what, they can have it. But I'm like, all right, I got to get the scissors out. So then I had to go into the water and I'm trying to cut through a fishing net underwater and hold the lure without getting a treble hook in my finger. And then I can't see what I'm doing. I don't want to cut the koiki tentacles. So it was a disaster. And I'm shocked that I got it back. It even took me 5 minutes to cut the mesh off it once I got it in the boat. So, but well worth it. I'll do that again for $100,000 in a heartbeat. But then I could do all that. I get dried out and I'm starting to dry out. The next fish, I'm like, I'm fishing for like 20 minutes. I feel my line. I'm like, there's a bit of a nick in my line. I got to retie this. And I throw it into a dock. I hook like a 4-pounder and I'm bringing it in and I've got it by the boat. And all of a sudden I pop my line. And after all that, I lost that koiki. I was you got to be kidding me. I had like 3 good fish at the time. I needed that one. And So anyways, it's gone. There's a 4-pounder swimming with one in its mouth.
What is it about it, Johnston, brother? You guys don't win pretty. I look at Corey's Elite Series win. He's puking his guts out. But then only a few hours later, he's holding the trophy. You're on the bottom, Santee Cooper.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I didn't have those mishaps, it just would have been too smooth. Like, you know what I mean? Something had to go wrong in that tournament. Just everywhere I went, I was catching fish, so I had to be hung on docks and trying to get things out and go swimming and stuff just to keep it honest, really.
When we were watching you Sunday, it seemingly felt like you were catching fish. I mean, not just Sunday, Saturday too. I mean, at like 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock, you're like, yeah, I'm not going to fish any of my primary stuff. I'm just going to go looking. And I'm like, now he's really scary because he's probably going to cull a few more times. And while he's culling, he's going to be adding extra data to his head of other areas for Sunday. And then come Sunday watching you, dude, it felt like you were on a different body of water. Like I'm watching everybody else struggle. And it just felt like you were catching fish seemingly at will. You had to have figured something else out other than it wasn't just the bait, was it? Like, what were you doing different, do you think?
See, that's where it's so funny because I don't get to see what everyone else is doing. And in my head, when I'm fishing on Championship Sunday, I'm like, Polnick is a scary guy. He's not the guy you want 3 pounds behind you on Santee. It sounds like a big lead. It's not at all. Like, he weighed 29 pounds and change the first 2 days. On day 3, he said he lost a couple giants. He should have had another giant bag. Yeah. So in my mind, I'm like, I need minimum 25 because he's probably going to have like a 27, 28, but he also has potential to catch like a 32-pound stringer. So in my mind, I don't know how the other guys are catching them. I don't know if they're struggling. So like every day, on day 2, 3, and 4, I started off with a 5-pounder on this one dock. It just kept producing, and it took so much pressure off because then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I got one good one. Let's go fishing. And that's what made this tournament seem so easy for me is I caught them so quick. Then I could be stress-free. And I'm like, like you said, I'm like, I'm just going to go fish in new water, and I know what pattern I need. I know what I'm looking for. And that's when you usually end up catching the 7, 8 pounders. And it's exactly what happened. And I didn't even get to fish some of the stuff I found in practice 3 or 4 days earlier because every morning I caught all these fish. I'm like, well, I'll just fish new stuff instead of where I wanted to go fish. And I finally got to it on day 4. I thought I was going to start to run out of fish on day 4 of the main lake stuff and that one dock that kept producing. And I was like, I'm probably going to run out. So I'll go fish down south where there's like 200 docks in an area, but I had bites in it. And every time I sampled it on day 2 and 3, I caught like a 6, 6.5. So I'm like, if I put my head down there for 4 hours, I should get 2 or 3 good bites. So I fished my stuff on the main lake, but I ended up fishing my main lake stuff longer than I was going to because it had more fish on it, and which was a nice surprise. So I'm like, I'm going to go down to those docks anyways. I'm going to fish them because I've been waiting all tournament to go fish them. And the first dock I pulled into, I lost a 5.5 beside the boat. I caught 3 or 4 4-pounders, some 2s, and then I caught a 6. And that was in an hour and probably 10 minutes. I was like, man, this is like unbelievable fishing. Like, not to mention that I'm winning the tournament. At that point, I had a pretty good idea that Polnick's going to need 32, 33, which still in my mind, like I'm not going for pizza because you never know what can happen on Santee Cooper. I always wanted more. But it was just like you couldn't ask for a better day of fishing. Like I would have liked to stay out there for 2 or 3 hours after the tournament just to see how many you could actually catch. Because there were still 2 or 3 stretches I didn't even get to hit.
Yeah, I feel like you could still be there today and you'd still be catching 25 plus pounds. Like it's
what it seemed like. It's crazy.
Like at one point during live, I'm like, I believe Chris Johnston could be in 1st and 2nd in this tournament if we just weighed all the fish he's culling.
And it'll never happen again. That's the thing. It's just a dream tournament. And I was very fortunate to put that pattern together and have it work all over the lake. Like that was the crazy part. I could duplicate it at any part of the lake and throw that koiki under a dock. If it had 3 feet of water to 10 feet of water, you could get an 8-pounder on any cast. And that was the really cool thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I love my forward facing sonar, but I also like catching them old school where you don't know when you're going to get a bite. You don't know what's under that dock. And it was really nice because you're fishing it and you don't know if there's a fish looking at your bait. And all of a sudden that loads up and it's game on. He's going around posts and it's fun. Excuse me.
It was a lot of fun to watch. How ironic is it that you have like a long-standing relationship with a clothing company that literally makes everything between hats to footwear and everything in between, and you won this event on an $8 pair of Walmart flip-flops that did not ever look comfortable. Even in the morning when I looked at you, I'm like, I don't know that those are comfortable at all.
The sole on them was about that thick. They're terrible sandals. But when I blew my sandal, I don't know how like Kyle Patrick fishes in bare feet all day. I was standing up there at 1:00. I'm like, my feet are on fire. This carpet is hot. Like, how do people fish in bare feet all day? So I needed something on my feet, and I wasn't going with running shoes and sweating all day. So I had to buy some economy sandals, and hey, it was better than standing on hot carpet. Let me tell you.
Yeah. You probably autographed them and give them away now, Chris.
I would have gave them away, but they probably smell so bad no one want them.
There's some weird fans out there in the world. I got a question for you from Paul Marks.
Okay.
Paul Marks is also going to be part of this episode, and he said, how do you and Corey split up practice?
How do we split up practice? We go to opposite, usually, areas. Like, for example, on day 1 of practice, I was fishing in the bottom lake. He was fishing the top lake. And it's just like bouncing ideas off each other. It's like, hey, we try not to fish the same water because then you're kind of cannibalizing each other. But if you can put a pattern together, and it worked out perfect this time, is like, hey, I'm catching them on a koiki on docks. See if you can duplicate that elsewhere where I'm not fishing, because I don't want to see you fishing around me doing the same thing. You do it on your own part. So that's how we try and split it up. And then if we can both do well on that and not hurt each other's fishing, it usually works out pretty good. There's a few instances like Lake St. Clair or I can't think of too many other ones where you're fishing like a big flat or something. So it's like, hey, there might be 300 fish in the area. There's room for 4 or 5 boats that are going to be fishing it. You can fish around each other, that sort of thing. But when you're fishing isolated docks and stuff, I don't want to pull up, fish a dock, and then him not knowing fish at 20 minutes behind me, and I already caught the fish, because then you're just hurting each other. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, I think this week was a prime example. You guys everybody always points, oh, well, you're competing against 2 of them. But I'm like, they're also competing against each other. When you watch one, you know what I mean? He led day 1, and then you weigh in 32 pounds the next day.
And it's kind of funny. Like, if Corey and I didn't run the same pattern, it probably would have been easier for me, because there was areas I knew he was fishing that I could look on my map and be like, oh, there'd be fish there. After dialing it in, there'd be fish there. But I'm like, I can't go fish there because Corey's actually there. So it would have just gave me more areas to fish in this scenario. But luckily there's enough docks, it didn't matter.
You said a few minutes ago, this will probably never happen again, like a tournament like this. But I feel like people that know you've had a lot of those. This will probably never happen again. Do you really? Is that something you just say in a podcast, or do you really believe that?
No, I might get some wins. Hopefully I'll get some wins, and maybe by 5-10 pounds would be great, but not catching this many fish of that size will probably never happen again. And it's because I'm not saying I invented this technique by any means, but I was ahead of the curve using the koiki on the docks with no live scope on Santee Cooper. People do it elsewhere, I'm sure. I'm not saying I invented it, but it's one of those things. Like I said, it's an A-rig. It's a Cinco. I don't think I'll have one of those baits first going to a lake and catching 20 more pounds than everyone else and making it seem so easy. There's tournaments, hopefully I win, but it's grinding and it's using same baits as everyone else and fishing similar things, and you just got to kind of outfish somewhere. This just felt like I was on a whole nother lake.
Yeah, it really did seem like that when we were watching you. And it also felt like, I think way too many people, and we talked about this a bunch on live, but way too many people pigeonhole you guys as smallmouth dudes. And I feel like that was probably the second part of your career where the smallmouth thing became a big part of it. Like you originally are a dock fishing largemouth guy, right?
That's what I grew up fishing. That Lake Scugog of all places. If you weren't fishing docks, you weren't going to catch the 5-6 pounders. Like that's what I grew up fishing until I was 17, 18 years old. It was flipping milfoil, punching mats, and fishing docks. That's how I grew up fishing. I wasn't skipping a koiki under them, but that's what we were doing. That's how I grew up. And yeah, people are like, oh, he's a great up north smallmouth fishing. I bet you I've had more seconds down south and close finishes than I have up north, to be honest. And it's just, it's nice to do it on largemouth and strictly largemouth.
You're one of the few humans that has 2 century belts now, but with 2 different species, both largemouth and smallmouth. What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I don't get too worked up about that stuff. It's sweet. I love the century belt, but I don't know who else would have it. Probably Walters.
Walters and Kyoya.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather just take a blue trophy with the $100,000. If I'm being honest, it pays better than the belt.
Yeah. Belts are cool, but trophies are better, or checks are better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can even answer this honestly. What do you think the kyoiki is going to do in the smallmouth world?
So I've played with it the last couple of years, and it's not the be all to end all. If that makes sense. Like you can catch fish on it, but there's Elite Series anglers that have been using it for the last couple of years, and you're not going to go up there and win a tournament by 10 or 15 pounds because you had a koiki. But I can guarantee you're going to catch fish on it if you work it properly, have it weighted properly. It has to be perfect. But it's definitely a bait the smallmouth haven't seen. They're curious creatures. They're going to come over. They're probably more curious than largemouth, the smallmouth. Yeah. They're going to come over. They're going to look at it, but you ain't going to catch them on a full cast. And if you do, it would be scary the size of the smallmouth you'd be catching. But it catches smallmouth. There's no doubt about it, but you have to have it very dialed in. But I don't think you're going to blow the other baits out of the water because there's still so many other baits that still catch smallmouth. Does that make sense? Like on Santee Cooper, those 6-7 pounders I was catching, they probably wouldn't have touched a Cinco. They wouldn't have touched a jig. They've seen it. It would have fell by their face. They wouldn't even looked at it. If I take in smallmouth country, if I take and throw my drop shot with, let's say, CJ Smasher or any minnow, that 6-pound smallmouth is going to go look at it, and you're probably still going to get a bite, or he's going to be interested. Whereas you could throw a koiki, you might get that one to bite too, but you're still going to get more big quality fish on other baits as well because they're not as pressured, the smallmouth, in my opinion. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And you're 100% right on the dock thing, because guest after guest that we had done live cast, like, looked where you were fishing. They're like, I fished those docks. I 100% fished those docks. I did not throw a kyoiki and got exactly the result that.
Yeah, whereas smallmouth, you can still throw a tube, you can still throw a drop shot and get some of those big ones to bite. And that's why I don't think it'll be completely dominated by a koiki. But I'm sure smallmouth tournaments are going to be one on it.
Why did you feel, one of the things you said on stage that is rare in the fishing world, because it doesn't matter how somebody wins them, you win, and all of a sudden you're clearly an expert on this or that. And it feels like people, will just slide right into that role. You felt the need to go out of your way at a winning moment and be like, I am not a kyoiki expert. Why did you feel the need to let the world know that?
Well, I just, it's not something I throw. It's not something I grew up throwing. Like, I would consider myself more of a jig expert or something like that for largemouth. Bed fishing, that's what I love to do. Koiki is a technique that I'm still learning. It's something that I'm still dialing in, the hook system and how to fish it. Before this tournament, I bet you on the full cast koiki, before this tournament, I bet you I've only caught 10 fish ever on in my life. So that's why I'm saying I'm not an expert at it, but I dialed it in this week for what I needed to on Santee Cooper. And it was unbelievable.
It was a big week, not just for you, but for you and your brother. I mean, you won the event, and Corey came into that event 66 points behind Trey McKinney and leaves that event 20 points ahead of him.
Yeah, I can't believe, to be honest, I didn't want to tell Corey, but I'm like, you probably blew it on Murray because he bombed. McKinney had another top 10. And I was like, you probably blew it because he's probably not going to have a bad tournament the rest of the year. And then this happened. And now all of a sudden Corey's in the lead after Santee. I can't believe that. So that's going to be a shootout. I can promise you going up north. That's going to be an interesting one.
Your brother has said to me, people around your family have said that Corey is possessed at winning that title this year. And Corey, when I ask him about it, he's just Corey. He's just like, oh,
he wants it bad. He wants it bad. Don't let him kid you. He's never pre-practiced in his life. And because he was in contention for Angler of the Year, he went and pre-practiced the Pascatank. He said he's going to pre-practice Champlain because he has a chance at Angler of the Year. So he may say it's just whatever, but 100% he wants it bad. And it doesn't help because I've won that it makes it want it that much more. I can promise you.
When he comes over to your house, does he even look at those trophies?
He won't touch them. He gets mad, actually. He gets angry.
Well, I've been to both the victory parties of those trophies, and Corey definitely is acting like somebody who's trying to hide from something in those events. But it's going to be, I think, a really compelling Angler of the Year race. Will you ruin it? Now you're in 19th for Angler of the Year. Will you ruin that and swoop in and take a third in a row if you can?
If I could, 100%. But even if I top 5'd the last 3 events, I don't think I could win it, unfortunately. I would love to win 3 in a row. But I just don't see it happening. But like I said, what I'm really excited for is if I can have a good tank or a good tournament on Pascatank, be in a good position for Angler of the Year, making the Classic, then you'll see me probably gamble on Lake Champlain, and I'm either probably going to be a hero or a zero. I'm probably going to make the run, maybe spend 2 or 3 days practicing in like Ticonderoga. If I could figure it out down there, you could potentially win because of the no live scope. But if you don't figure it out, you're in big trouble.
How do you think that experiment's worked out, in your opinion, as an angler competing under it, some with, some without?
I think it's great for the format, and I think it's great for the fans because there were so many people like, oh, so-and-so can only catch them with forward facing. And there's been anglers prove them wrong. But like, oh, look, he can catch them without. So I think it's great for the fans. I think it's great for the anglers because they can showcase their skills both ways. And I think it makes it very even for the field, and really no one has anything to complain about. I don't see why anyone could complain as an angler, because if you're not very good at live scope, you better learn it. And vice versa. If you're struggling with their live scope, well, there's your chance. You better go learn how to go old school fishing. So the guy that wins Angler of the Year or the guys that make the Classic are going to be the most well-rounded fishermen. And I think that's great.
That's a good thing. And it feels like to me, and I don't know if I'm trying to insert this, but it feels like to me that guys are getting more respect for what they're doing. Like, and Hank Cherry doesn't do what he does in Gunnersville. You know what I mean? Like, I think he would have did. I think Hank Cherry would have done. That's not the right word. What happened with Hank Cherry would have happened, but I don't think, unless everybody else, number one, if Live Scope was involved, he wouldn't even probably been in the top 10 the way it would have worked out. You know what I mean? But but I think, guys, you have to it's easy to say I can catch him without it, or I can catch him with it, but you kind of got to go through it and see the other side to experience that, I guess, or to respect that. Yeah.
No, I think it gives anglers more credit. Like I said, the guys that people are hating on, saying, oh, they're just scopers. Well, no, they're catching them both ways. They put their time in. They practice, 7 days a week. You know what I mean? Without scope, there's a reason they're catching them. And it's whether it's with scope or without, it's because they're putting the time in and the effort. And I think, like you said, it gives them more credit now on the fishing world that these guys are just good. But it also may show the guys that can only, on the other hand, that can only catch them one way or like one dimensional. It shows them too. So it does both.
Yeah, no, I think 100% it shows. It's exposing the truth to a lot of people, and it's also pushing people to be better at certain things. And does your Century belt, I mean, if it had been a live scope event, does it matter to you at all? But to win with 113 pounds without scope, does that matter?
That feels better, to be honest, with no scope, catching them that way. Getting that Century belt. I do believe that. And I didn't realize I was that close till someone pointed out yesterday or something about the record on Santee Cooper, like 2 pounds off the record. I was like, oh, that first day killed me. If I had just fished what I had done the last 3 days, I would have had that one. That would have been a really cool title to have.
Yeah. Yeah. Preston Clark's.
But I promise you, if there was live scope in that event, I don't know that I would have won. Because there's so many big fish with live scope, people would have found different ways to catch them. They would have been throwing a koiki in the grass. They would have been throwing it at brush piles, and it would have been a different tournament.
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it, and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
Yeah, that's why, I mean, I've openly admitted it over and over again how wrong I think I probably was. Because initially I really wanted us to do a limited period of time at each event. You know what I mean? A power hour type thing. And I've watched it all play out. And I'm like, nah, every other is, to me, it just seems to, because everything gets, I mean, dude, what a travesty to the sport it would be if you didn't, like the way you dominated this week, if you didn't win it because of a power hour or whatever. It just, to me, I think we don't see what Hank Cherry did. We don't see a lot of the things with that system, but this you do. Do you feel different? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and from an angler's perspective, I don't like the, whatever you said, power hour, couple hours of live scope, because we get 2 or 3 days to practice. I don't want to have to practice with live scope, how I'm going to fish with live scope, and then have to practice and find fish without live scope. I just want to go into a tournament. Okay, if it's live scope, I'm going to practice with live scope, figure how to catch them. Or if it's no live scope, I'm going to spend 3 days and figure out how to fish and catch them the best of my ability without live scope, and not have to worry, how am I going to catch them in each way. I want to go all in on one or the other. That's just a personal preference thing.
That went right into where I was going to go with my next question, which was like, do you feel different going into them? And I think that's the part that nobody takes into account. Like as an angler, you just want to, I mean, I equate it to growing up fishing lots of tournaments on St. Clair. I hated that it was St. Clair Erie, because you in your head, you're like, well, I know I can compete on St. Clair, but is somebody going to run to Erie and beat it? You know what I mean? Like you have to think of the two, and you don't have time to figure out both. And that's what the scope thing seems to have been to a lot of people. Like you can focus on one thing, but you're going to get beat with the other. So what's next for you? Like what drives you now at this point?
There's one that's that carrot dangling in front of me that I want. And it's no secret, the Bassmaster Classic. That's the one title that is probably the most prestigious, biggest accolade in fishing. And I want to crack at that one. And so hopefully I can make the Classic next year. Lake Hartwell, we don't know if it's going to be live scope or not. They haven't really said much about that, to be honest. So that will be interesting to hear. But there's also another tournament in Nashville. You've obviously heard about that one. Yeah. Pretty excited about that one. And I was a little worried having a mediocre year so far. I had to be in the top 25 in AOY or win a tournament. So I won one. So another bonus is I get to go to that $1 million tournament in Nashville, or 1.25 for first. So that's life-changing money, that one. Yeah. So yeah.
What will you spend extra time pre-fishing for that?
I think it goes off limits like a month before, and I may go down for 2 or 3 days actually, and have a look at it, figure it out. and then probably leave my boat and something down there and then fly back home. So yeah, I probably will. Like 1 in 50 chance at $1 million. Like you got to put a little extra time into that one. I think second's like 500.
500.
Yeah. So it's worth the investment.
Yeah. You're nuts.
It's not that I don't want to do it. The big thing for me is leaving extra time for the kids. They're so busy. Like I'm home right now. I just got home and we got baseball and lacrosse tonight. Tomorrow night we got lacrosse, and then I'm going to Niagara Falls on Friday. So I just hate missing the sports and stuff, but I'm going to have to try and find some time to sneak away and do a little pre-practice, maybe when they're in school during the week or something. Sneak down to Nashville and stay away from Broadway though.
Yeah, it's a bad place.
Yeah.
Our good place.
It'll be late morning starts on the water.
What you had mentioned, you don't know that you guys aren't sure what the rules will be for the Classic. What would you like the rules to be?
Like I said, I'm not forward facing or against. I'm kind of neutral, but I think if we're fishing our seasons half and half, then they probably should flip flop it every other year. One with scope, the other without scope seems to make the most sense, right? I wouldn't want to see it one day with scope, one day without scope during the Classic. That's what I wouldn't want to see, or like 3 hours with scope. If I go to the Classic, I want to practice for it that way. If we have live scope, that's fine, but I want 3 days to know that I'm going to be able to use it the whole time.
Yeah. And it makes sense to me that, you alternate, or, you qualified under a coin flip, compete under a coin flip to me.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what you do. Do you coin flip every year, or do you alternate? Like what do you do? But
that's above our pay grades, Dave.
Yeah. I get in trouble when I talk about it. Yeah, that's 100% right.
Show up, do what we're told.
I like what I like about this year is it definitely seems like there's less smoke around anything. Like it just seems like people. And
you would see it. Like, is the social media finally being a little like more quiet, or is still haters saying, "Oh, he just won because of scope," or like has that quieted down?
I would say that Easton got more than Dylan got. So I'd say it's quieted down a bit like that. But I just think that social media, dude, I think me and you could post that we just had a great lunch at Marty Moves of all places, and somebody's going to roast us. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, you give everyone a voice.
For example, Dylan, obviously a phenomenal live scoper. Next year he's going to be on the elites. And if he does well in a couple of the non-scopes, then like people will be like, hey, listen, this guy can catch him regardless, right? And I'm pretty sure he's one of those guys that spends every day on the water. So it gives a kid like that an opportunity to show up and be like, listen, I'm here because I put the work in.
I would say Trey got a lot more respect from a lot of people this year already, what he's done. Speaking of which, he was second to you in Angler of the Year the last 2 years. He's now second to your brother. Do you ever start to feel bad for Trey McKinney?
Poor kid. He'll be so sick of us. Oh, man. I hope he drop kicks Corey right off the stage if Corey takes it from him on the last tournament and just gets fed up with it and pushes Corey off the stage. That would make my year. I would laugh.
So you don't feel bad for him is what you're saying?
No, I don't. But I think it's hilarious, to be honest. He's a great fisherman, and I'm sure his time will come. It may happen this year, but obviously I'm pulling for Corey to win it. But I'm sure it'll be a battle between them and going right up to the last tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch this week, dude. Incredible finish, incredible event, domination, and congrats.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I got a list of things to do around this house because I don't know if we put it on the podcast, but I moved at the start of fishing season. So Catherine's got a list of 100 things for me to get done. So when I come home from fishing, I'd love to say I'm just relaxing and kind of enjoying it, but no, I got so many things to do. I moved into a house that was built in 1880. So as soon as you fix one thing, you pull a Band-Aid off, there's 5 more behind it. So I got my hands full. So I got lots of work to do, but I appreciate you having me on the podcast. And it's always fun seeing you on stage, and we'll do it again in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
2 champions, 1 show. Who does that? Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. We do that. That's right. And the only reason we do it is because of you fine folks. I cannot thank you enough for your support. Thank you all the humpers that came up to say hello in South Carolina. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that help stroke the algorithm, keep the grow going. It really does make a difference. So thank you for those of you that routinely take the time to comment and like and do all those things, because it truly does make a difference. Before we shut things down, special shout out to someone that came out to the Elite Series event this past week. UFC Hall of Famer Clay Guida. You know him, the carpenter. Always. He was always moving. Always moving. And he's a huge Elite Series fan, huge bass fishing fan, and we loved having him at the event. If you don't know who Clay Guida is, well, do yourself a favor. Just Google Clay Guida versus Diego Sanchez. If you want to feel like less of a man, that's what I do, because they pummel each. Just see it if you're into it. So thank you, Clay. It was great to have you at the event. Great to have people like you that are Bassmaster fans. We appreciate you, and I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Remember, humpers, everybody is fighting a battle. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Go out there in the world and make the world a better place. Smile, hold the door open, spread kindness, because the world sure could use it. Until next time, enjoy being, and as always, Bob Cobb, take it away.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?